Hello, Bulldog Gardeners. Welcome to the school garden. I'm excited to share our next garden lesson with you. This time, we'll be talking about decomposition in compost. What is decomposition? Well, decomposition is nature's way of recycling. Decomposition happens everywhere in nature. It is how nature recycles once living things into new living things. For example, imagine a forest where the leaves fall to the ground in the autumn. Once the leaves fall to the forest floor, they break down and are absorbed by the roots of the trees and other plants. It's just as if you were to toss a banana peel onto the ground, it too would eventually break down and be returned to the soil, feeding the grass. Let's talk about what does all the work of decomposition. They are organisms called decomposers, and the decomposers make decomposition happen. Decomposers consume dead plant material, turning it into food for living plants. Decomposers recycle waste into a resource for plants. Let's take a look at some pictures of decomposers. There are two types of decomposers: visible, ones that you can see, and invisible, ones that are too small to see without a microscope. Some examples of visible decomposers, such as spiders, worms, and centipedes. Some examples of invisible decomposers are bacteria and some types of fungus. Well, now that we know the basic concept of decomposition, let's talk more about the natural material that decomposers are breaking down and recycling for us. It is called organic matter. And organic matter is previously living things. In the garden, some examples of organic matter could include dead plant material like stems, leaves, twigs, mulch, insects, and old fruits and vegetables. Decomposers take all this old organic matter and recycle it into something called compost. Compost is the end result of decomposition. We make compost by putting organic matter into a large pile and encouraging decomposers to do their work. We can encourage decomposers in a compost pile by adding just the right amount of organic matter, water, and air. At the end of the decomposition process, we end up with a beautiful compost that we can add to the soil in our garden to help our vegetables and flowers to grow. Now that we know what decomposition and compost is, we're going to be building our own compost pile right here in the school garden. We really like to have a compost pile every year at our school garden, so we always have compost to add and use in our garden beds. Our soil remains healthy and strong to grow healthy plants. I'm so sorry we aren't all able to be together to build our compost pile this year, but I'll build it for us and it will be here for you to see when we get back to the school building. Come on, let me go show you around the compost area. Hey, Bulldog Gardeners, I'm here in our school garden composting area. Your compost area is located by the upper gate and the bike rack, with the garden just here to my left, so you can visualize where we are. I'm standing here by what is remaining of our compost pile from last fall. We have been using this compost in our garden over spring and summer. You might ask, why do we compost? Well, people compost to help the environment because our choices affect our environment and the earth. When we choose to compost our waste and organic materials instead of throwing things in the trash, we help the environment. By composting, we also make our own natural plant fertilizer or plant food, instead of using chemicals in our garden which could harm our environment and soil and water. We just love making our own compost right here in the school garden. Let me show you around a little bit. Over this way, we've got our composting bins here. This is where we collect all the organic matter that we use in our composting projects. Here's a list of different types of organic material that can be used in composting. We have greens and browns.
In composting, we use the term greens for organic matter that is still pretty fresh and has moisture in it. Browns refers to organic matter that has become dry and crispy.
Let's take a look at some of the organic materials that we will be using to build our very own compost pile today. Here I have some old straw, which is a brown. We have some old leaves, which would also be browns. We have some torn paper from old grocery sacks. And clean, rinsed eggshells. These are also browns. Let's look at some of our greens. I have some fresh grass clippings. We have some nice clean kitchen scraps. These are remains of fruits and vegetables. Those are also greens. We can also use some garden waste from our school garden. These are some very healthy plants that we just are getting rid of. If you'd also notice, there is a crazy 11-pound cucumber that we somehow grew in the school garden. He's a little too big for eating, but he's perfect for composting. Okay, all our materials are ready to go. Let's build our compost pile.
Rising up and above, you will always keep my heart and soul strong. Plant your seeds and watch them grow. The light will always know where to go. You will always keep my heart and soul strong.
All right, Bulldog Gardeners, let's talk about your assignments for this garden lesson.
Gardeners, your assignment is to complete the activity that was made for your grade. The activities are interactive Google Slides based on the information we covered about decomposition and composting. It will be best if you do the activity soon after watching this video so it's fresh in your mind.
Next, let's talk about your garden journaling activity for this lesson.
For this lesson, all grades will be making entries in your journals about compost and decomposers. We are encouraging everyone to also grab their journals and go on a decomposers hunt right in your own backyard. Have fun looking for and identifying them.
This is what our finished compost looks like that we've been adding to the garden beds this spring and summer. Our plants just love our homemade compost. It helps them grow healthy and strong because it is full of nutrients that the plants use to grow. I I've really enjoyed composting with you today, Bulldog Gardeners. Composting is a really fun and easy way to help the environment, and it is great to use in your garden. If you or your family would like some more information or resources about composting, I'd be happy to help. Just let your classroom teacher know. That's all for now. See you next time, Bulldogs.